There are many noteworthy milestones in the life of a motorcyclist, whether it's getting your license, a big bike upgrade, or the first time you go tarmac surfing. But there are very few that are as sought after or well remembered as getting your knee down, particularly if you're a biker of the sporty variety. And yes, I know you can argue that it's pretty arbitrary and doesn't make you a better rider, but it is still something many riders want to achieve, something they will struggle with, and something that's fondly remembered after it happens. Which was exactly the case for me. After being on the track for 18 months, I was going pretty well in the advanced group, but I still hadn't got my knee down, and I was getting increasingly frustrated by it. But one day at Snetterton in 2011, during a coaching session with Neil Hodgson, it finally happened. I experienced the distinct but faintest touch of my knee slider scraping the track. Something that left me grinning from ear to ear while I sat there gently caressing the abrasion on my slider back in the paddock. So trust me when I say that I understand the frustration of not being able to do it, along with the relief and pleasure of finally achieving this riding milestone. So we're going to go through all the main reasons why riders struggle with it, because it's more than just body position, and the best ways to overcome them so that you can finally get there for yourself. Now, even though I say it's not just body position, that is where we're going to start, focusing on the main mistakes with it that make getting your knee down that much harder. So, in simple terms, the peg is typically the first thing to touch down as the bike reaches maximum lean. So, as long as your knee is sticking out further than that as it relates to the contact patch, then it means your knee should always touch the ground first. So, getting into that position is the first goal. But riders do make that more difficult in a number of ways. The first is, sorry to say, just having short legs, simply because they won't stick out as far. Now, it doesn't mean that knee down is impossible, but it does mean you need to get these next pieces right in order to give yourself the best chance. Things like making sure you're sliding off the seat enough, with one half to one whole cheek usually being enough, making sure your heel is turned in so that your toes are pointing out, and making sure your body is facing slightly into the turn rather than being crossed up and pointing away from it. Something that forces your knee forward to the front of the bike as opposed to out to the side. Fixing these things will help open up your hips and extend your knee further out. But you also need to be relaxed enough to actually open your hips like this. And that's why having the proper lower body support is important here. If that support is poor, you're going to have to rely on your arms, typically meaning your head will drift back into the center, creating that same crossed up position. But you may also find that you have a little too much strain on your legs too, making it difficult to relax and open up your hips as needed. Now, you're always going to have a good deal of weight on that inside peg because the majority of your mass is on top of it. But good body position and anchoring will mean it just doesn't become excessive, making sticking that knee out that much easier. Okay, so body position is the first box to tick, ultimately making sure your knee is sticking out far enough and you're actually comfortable doing it. But in my experience, that's the easiest bit to get right, with these next two being significantly harder, one of those being the psychological barriers. Okay, so your knee is sticking out far enough, but if you aren't leaning the bike enough, then outside of parting company with it, your knee is never going to touch the ground. And one of the main factors that prevent riders doing that is the fear they have around it. And for me, there's typically two things behind the fear of leaning. The rider doesn't trust the equipment under them, or they don't trust themselves and their ability to not crash. They don't trust what's under them because they aren't really sure what the bike and tires can handle. Is it safe to lean that far? Will the tires be okay if I do? How do I know if the tires are going to let go? And no matter how much a rider wants to lean further, with those questions swirling around in their heads, it's all too easy to just stay in their comfort zone. One of the very best ways to build confidence in what's under you is to simply look at other riders who are using the same equipment as you. If you can see riders going much faster with the bike cranked right over and the knee on the deck with similar machinery and tires, that in itself is proof that they are capable. Also, don't be afraid to upgrade to stickier rubber if your tires aren't giving you confidence. Now, that doesn't mean going out and buying the stickiest raced rubber you can, but even moving from, say, a sports touring tire to a modern track day tire, that extra feeling of grip could make all the difference. But like I said, getting confidence in what's under you is just the first part. The second is having confidence in yourself and your own ability. If you don't know or understand good fundamental skill and what you should be doing with the controls at any given moment, it can make it difficult to push to those higher lean angles because you just aren't sure you're doing things correctly. By taking time to learn and improve your fundamental skill, you start to develop confidence purely through knowing that you are in fact doing the right things. This helps reduce the fear of things suddenly going wrong because you now have confidence in yourself, as well as your ability to avoid crashing. However, while knowing that is important, I know from personal experience that you're not just going to suddenly blast past your riding barriers just because you know that. So the way to truly chip away and eventually overcome them is by putting yourself in a position to tackle them properly, leading us onto the final change riders need to make, which is their cornering approach, specifically in the context of trying to break these barriers and finally reaching knee down. But before we get to that really quickly, if you are a rider trying to break these barriers and you're trying to reach high levels on the track, we're actually running a free 4-day online workshop that helps you do exactly that. Over 4 days, you'll learn how the best riders consistently make progress by finding weaknesses, creating plans to tackle them, and then heading out there in the right way to make real progress. To join us, there's a link in the description and in the top pinned comment. Riders really love this workshop, so I'm excited for you to jump in and get something from it too. Alright, so most riders instinctively know that they need to lean the bike more and that they need more speed going into corners to do it. But this often leads them to being more aggressive and trying to brake later and force the speed into corners, which, funnily enough, has the complete opposite effect of stripping speed they need through over-braking while taking away the calmness and composure we actually need. But riders on the other end of the scale will struggle too. If they're way too tentative and they roll off a long way from the corner while barely using any brakes, that's going to make entering corners with more speed difficult too. So in my experience, the best approach is something in the middle, while also doing it on corners that lend themselves well to breaking this tricky barrier. For me, that means slightly longer, medium speed corners that require a fair bit of braking, but not high levels of braking, like you would going into a hairpin after a straight, for example. Palmer at Snetterton is a perfect example of a great corner to practice on. It's a medium speed corner where you spend a fair bit of time in it. This means you have more time to focus on your lean angle and what you're doing with your knee. And because you don't need to use hard brakes because the corner before is a slow hairpin, it's easier to stay calm and be more deliberate with your braking effort, which is the key for rolling more speed into the corner. And by braking effort being the key, that doesn't mean braking as late as possible and attacking the corner, but instead working to release the lever a little earlier to incrementally increase entry speed. Because with everything else remaining the same, if you release the brake lever quicker and earlier towards the end of your braking effort, you're naturally going to roll more speed into that corner. This is how we want to increase our corner speed when working on this kind of barrier. So that's the first step, putting yourself in the best position to roll more speed in. Then comes the hard part, actually leaning. If you did in fact roll more speed into the corner, you'll likely feel a mild sense of panic that you're going too fast. That's completely normal. Keep your eyes up and ahead to show yourself the space is there and it shouldn't get too out of control. At this point, you'll be counter-steering and leaning into the corner, and what will probably happen is you'll bump up against your lean angle barrier again. That's okay. With it being a longer corner, you have time to notice it and then to tell yourself to lean that little bit more. Gently push on the inside bar while remaining off the throttle or at most neutral throttle, and the bike will lean more. And at this point, don't be afraid to really stick your knee out. Ordinarily, you don't want to strain to do this, but if it means getting that first touch, then that's fine. Now, if you didn't get it down, don't worry. You now know what the plan is. Release the brake lever a little earlier again so that you go a little faster into the corner next time. But if you're at a point where you feel like you're barely braking at all and still not going fast enough, then you probably need to move your initial braking point closer to the corner so that you're actually using the brakes, regaining that adjustability you need to do this. And this is all it takes. Incrementally increase your speed through your brake release while practicing conscious countersteering to increase lean angle bit by bit. If your body is in the position we talked about and your knee is sticking out far enough, eventually it will touch down. And while this isn't necessarily the perfect approach for going fast, what we're doing here is isolating the barrier that we're trying to overcome and making it as easy as possible to tackle it. And once you can do that consistently on one corner, that confidence will start to bleed into all the other corners and you'll start getting your knee down there as well. As someone that took longer than most to get that first knee down all those years ago, I know how frustrating and impossible it can feel at times. But with a bit of conscious effort, it's only a matter of time before you can get there too. And if you're anything like me, it's still going to make you grin like a wally for many years to come. Now, everything I've just shared with you around this is stuff I wish I knew when I got first started on the track, but there's plenty more. And to see 21 other truths that I wish I knew when I got started with motorcycles that I think everyone should know, check out this video here. Outside of that, thank you so much for joining me for this one, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.